Hello, this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. It uses a technique called kissing to do these leaves, get the multicolors in the leaves. So let's get started. I'm going to be using some red rhinestone basic jewels out of white cardstock, using the Stitch So Sweetly dies, the largest of the stitched rectangles. I've cut out this scalloped rectangle. Stamp on that. I have a piece of real red, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and then my card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. I'm using the gorgeous leaves. I'm going to be using this stamp, and for this card I'm just using this one. And then I brought in a sentiment from Forever Fern, to a friend that makes me smile. Okay, I think we're going to do this background first. And for that I'm using these little tiny leaves. I forgot about those. And I've cut them apart because I like to be able to use them individually. But I just put them all together in a cluster on the block. I'm going to be using Bumblebee, Polished Pink, Real Red, and Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Okay, so I'm just going to take this stamp and I'm going to stamp all around the edges. Make sure you're stamping off a little bit. Turn it. You don't need to do the inside, just around the edges. Twist it and stamp it and stamp it again. Some of these spots where it's not got anything on the edges, we will stamp something over the top of it. I need any here, but we'll stamp it there anyway. Okay, now over here I'm just going to take the one stamp, stamp a couple of those, and I'm going to take them off. I should wash them first so I don't get my fingers all dirty. And just have the one stamp on there, because I want one right here. Okay, that's good. Alright, so there's that background. This piece is going to sit on top of it, so as long as you've got your edge all the way around, you're good. Okay, so now let's bring in this stamp. We're going to be inking that up with the Real Red. Set it down here on our table. Now we're going to bring in our maple leaf, and I think I'm going to start with the bumblebee one. You're also going to need something to clean your stamp off in between. So I'm going to ink up in the bumblebee. Can you see that? Put it over here. Ink up in the bumblebee. And then I'm going to take the stamp and I'm going to put it on top of this other stamp that has the red ink on it. That's the kissing, so I'm just going to set it on there, pick it up, and I'm going to bring it to my project, and I'm going to stamp it. That gives you the two-tone effect. It's called Kissing. You can use any two stamps. Here's one where I used a different stamp. It's the wood grain one. I don't know if you can see the difference. Pardon my blue fingers, but it's from a different project. Okay, now before I stamp in this again, I need to make sure I clean my stamp off so I don't contaminate my bumblebee with the real red. So clean your stamp off, make sure it's not wet. Stamp in the bumblebee. Stamp it onto the other stamp that's stamp side up. And go to my project and stamp. Okay. Again, we're going to clean that off. Make sure it's dry. And I think I'm done with the yellow for now. I might come back to it. And now I'm going to polish pink. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to ink it with the polished pink. I'm going to stamp onto this, kiss onto this other stamp. I'm going to stamp that onto my project. Awesome. One more time. Now you might need to wash this off and re-stamp it, depending on how muddled the ink gets on it. But in this instance, it's not going to make any difference. Okay, I'll stamp this over here. Oops, I did the wrong color. That's alright. We'll wash it off. Meant to go in the pink. Put the pink one here. And maybe I'll put a little bit of one here. That didn't work so well, so wash it off, do it again. Okay, then I'm gonna just, without cleaning my stamp, I'm just gonna stamp lightly a little bit of this color just to fill in the white spaces. Alright, let's put this away. These little leaves away. I bring in the Memento and my To a Friend That Makes Me Smile stamp. I'm going to stamp that up in this corner here. Oh, that's a great stamp. That one's stamped really well. Okay, now we can assemble the card. Let's turn this over and put some dimensionals on the back of it. Just going to wash these off real fast. With the cat here, it's not smart leaving ink on the counter. I'm just going to use my edges. Okay, take those backs off. Oh, let's set that aside for just a minute. Let's go ahead and mount this red piece first. There's going to be 1/8 of an inch all the way around because it's 1/4 inch smaller than the front of the card. Finish taking the backs off of this one. This is really a simple card. I just like the kissing technique because it gives you the multi-tonal on one stamp without, you know, having additional sponging and all that. It's more unintentional. Okay, center that up. Then we're going to bring in those rhinestones. I'm going to use my take your pick tool. I find that the easiest to use. Pick up one of these rhinestones. I'm going to put one up here. Just scatter them around. I want them to be in that triangle though, so that it actually draws your eye around. There we go, there's our card. It's that simple. Here's the one I did previously. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.